Say hello to Dr. Richard Kent.
Hello, my name's Richard. I'm a retired medical doctor, so I suppose my proper name is Dr. Richard Kent, but actually everybody calls me Richard.
And you guessed it, he's a creationist.
For the next 1 hour, we're going to be talking about evolution is impossible.
Before we begin, it is worth noting that Richard does take part in charity work, including these free presentations. More importantly, he travels to other countries and does charity work for their death row inmates. Regrettably, it is nothing so noble as to fight for the commuting of their sentences to life imprisonment, nor using his medical expertise to testify in appeals to prevent miscarriages of justice. Instead, he feels it is best for him to preach and convert these people who are facing imminent death to Christianity. Anyway, gripe over. Let's move the breakables away and listen to yet another would-be Nobel laureate.
We now know, because of what Jesus said, how old the whole universe is. It's 6,000 years old, and that's a tremendous shock for a lot of people, because the evolutionists have taught in schools and universities that this universe started out of nothing, something called the Big Bang, 20 billion years ago. They also teach that the Earth formed about 4.6 billion years ago, and life appeared 3 billion years ago by chance out of the primordial slime, and man evolved 3 million years ago. Man evolved from the animals. That's of course not what the Bible says. I just read the scriptures to you from Luke chapter 3, where it says Adam is the son of God, not the son of a monkey.
Right. Not the best start there, Richard, if I'm honest with you. The glaringly obvious point here is that you have no grip of the timescale of our universe. Our universe began somewhere in the region of 13.7 billion years ago. That is a whole 6.3 billion years adrift from your misrepresentation here. Or 45% greater than the actual value. In addition, life began 3.7 billion years ago, not 3. It may sound trivial, but that is still an error of 19%. Also, man first appeared in the fossil record about 195,000 years ago, not 3 million years ago. Don't worry, Kent. Just because your figure is 15 times the actual scientifically derived figure doesn't mean I'm going to brand you a deceptive con man. You may, after all, have gained this information from some questionable source. However, the reeking torso of a straw man, such as life coming from a rock, being the evolutionist's explanation for life, will. I've addressed the origin of life before now, and never once referred to rocks. If you're going to present to an audience on a subject, the least you could do is make sure that you knew what you are presenting is the actual position of your opponent. Different to checking numerical figures, this is a misrepresentation of a whole scientific realm of study. Oh, and also, timeline is one word, not two. Dr. Kent's margin of error continues to grow. In what can only be described as a move of supreme creationist mediocrity, Kent pulls out the pathetic argument of the recession of the moon, proving that the age of the Earth is in fact young. As I am sure many of you know, the moon is moving away from the Earth, as directly observed by what is likely the last remnant of the Apollo missions. The rate of recession is 3.82 centimetres a year, give or take 0.07 centimetres a year. Kent has, however, managed to get this very wrong.
Now, I told you earlier in this presentation that this planet is young. It's only 6,000 years old. And this is actually supported by science. The Bible clearly states it, but this is also supported by science. We're going to look at the moon now, where it actually recedes from the Earth. In other words, it goes away from the Earth by 18 inches every year.
Stating the rate to be 18 inches per year. This is in the order of 12 times larger than the directly observed rate. To borrow from a well-known debunking of the same argument, only with far more conservative figures than these. So let us imagine that you are one of Dr. Kent's patients. You are suffering from acute pain and require a morphine injection. Doses of morphine range between 5 and 25 milligrams, typically for an adult, although this varies greatly from person to person. Let us say you're in quite a bit of pain and require a high dose of 20 milligrams. The creationist doctor, however, applies the same level of scientific rigour as he does to his seminar in his treatment of you. He therefore gives you an injection 12 times the required dose, 240 milligrams. This is potentially fatal. It is not a matter of religious freedom, or hearing both sides. If the school system ever falls under the influence of these fools, I can only foresee this sort of error becoming more frequent. At this point I will come clean and express the greatest factor in my making Dr. Kent the target of this video. He is from my own home city. He walks the streets that I used to walk, and uses my former home as a base to spread his foul nonsense to the public. So, I offer this to you. I may not be the most intelligent, well-read or articulate person on this side of the fence called reality, but I challenge you to debate whether or not creationism is science. The debate will be moderated in front of a live audience, and in addition will be recorded for later publication on the internet, in full by both parties. The time, date and venue are to be agreed upon by both parties, as can any other points of logistics or structure you may wish to question. You may try and ignore me, but I will not let you go unchallenged in your continued attempts to represent my home as naught but the den of loud-mouthed ignorance. My contact details are contained in the description of this video, so I invite you to use them. Until then, I invite my viewers to share this challenge with you by contacting you via your websites. I look forward to hearing from you.